I now want to quickly cut across and bring in Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain, member of the National Disaster Management Authority, joining me on the broadcast. In a moment from now, we'll be joined by Lieutenant General Harpal Singh, former Engineer-in-Chief of the Indian Army, someone who was right there on ground zero as part of that rescue effort. But General Hasnain, you were very guarded in your statement earlier this evening. There was an apprehension perhaps this effort could go into tomorrow. But great success this evening, sir. What were your apprehensions?
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you for inviting me for the program. And first of all, congratulations, India. That's what it has to start from. It is India which has won. Now, as to this aspect of apprehension, Gaurav, as a military man, I believe only in success when the last inch has been gained. I do not go premature with my announcements, with my aspirations. I wait. I know that we can do it. I give the fullest backing to anyone who's doing it. I understand the situation. This is what we all brought to this situation. I didn't want to create a false hope within the nation. I knew that the eyes of the nation was on us, in the media particularly, looking for something, looking for an opening to tell them this is going to be successful. But I knew that if that 1% chance in the last 2 meters, if they encountered some encumbrances and it would have to take more time, then there would be disappointment all over the nation. This is not something which I was wanting to do. So I took it upon myself and made sure that the announcement was delayed till finally when the 41 people were out.
Absolutely, and it's also my proud privilege to welcome into this conversation Lieutenant General Harpal Singh, former Engineer-in-Chief of the Indian Army, someone who was earlier heading the Border Roads Organization. And it's such a privilege. Both the generals, I've known both the generals when they wore this uniform of our Indian Army for decades. General Hasnain as 15 Corps Commander and General Harpal as both DG BRO and Engineer-in-Chief. General Harpal, welcome on the show, sir. What was the biggest challenge that you faced?
Sawant, firstly, thank you for inviting me on the show. And like what Hasnain sir has said, a big congratulations to the entire country. And my gratitude that I got an opportunity to be here as part of the team. And we all, under the leadership of General VK Singh, the Honorable Minister, and the team headed by Secretary MORTH, we had a plethora of experts here. We put a mind together and then took a call on the manual drift method to be adopted once the trench or the trenchless technology had stalled due to the obstructions right in front.
In your appreciation, General Hasnain, should the army have been roped in earlier, more directly? Considering General Harpal Singh, former ENC, has headed BRO, he understands the mountains. BRO teams were involved in constructing that alternate route from the top. Should they have been a part of this from day one?
Gaurav, I think I need to correct some misperceptions here. The Indian Army teams were used or employed almost right at the beginning. Let me outline this for you. The BRO came in the moment the alternative options were being looked at. We knew that the equipment has to be taken to the top of the tunnel or to the side of the tunnel. It is only the BRO which could construct it under such field conditions. And the BRO was immediately roped in and they disappointed no one at all.
Oh,
the fact that General Harpal went there himself subsequently, an ex-DG, just shows the kind of commitment which exists in this particular service. The rest of the Army combat engineers, we had a Madras Engineering Group unit which was there, which has been there right from the beginning, and they were carrying out the construction of various implements which would be required in the sixth option if everything had failed. If this particular approach, the direct horizontal probe which was taking place, If it had failed, finally if the drift technology would have been used, it would have been these engineers who would have used it. They were there and already contributing. And lastly, when it came to the drift aspect of going in and manually cutting and manually digging, it is the army engineers again, along with the rat miners and the others who put in all the effort to go in and do this work. So the Indian Army has been there right from the beginning. No disappointment at all, right from the beginning in this operation.
And should rat mining effort or the sixth option, General Harpal, could that have been the option on day one, or that was the riskiest option and therefore exercised in the end, sir?
See, the various options actually. You can't say that it could have been applied right in the beginning, because the manual drift or the side drift, although a very safe option, but it is a time consuming. And once the trenchless technology and with the central or the manual drift right in the horizontal part of the tunnel came in, and we were getting good progress.
Yes.
In no time, they were at 44 meters. And it is only because of the obstructions which had come in that we got a setback. But finally, we used this methodology only, modified the manual drift, and used the central portion to do a manual drift for the balance 16 meters or so.
Okay. General Hasnain, what's the condition of the 41 workers inside? And I believe you were personally in touch with teams that were interacting with these workers. How was their morale kept high through these 17 days, sir?
See, Gaurav, some very novel methods were used under the directions of the Honorable Prime Minister. The moment we established the 6-inch pipeline, that became the lifeline virtually, and through that, we started sustaining them. Before that, it was only the 4-inch pipeline which was there, which could only take in some small bits of ration, small packets and things like that. But once the 6-inch pipeline came in, we had redundancy with us. We had water going in, and we had cooked food, which was the demand, which was the direction of the Honorable Prime Minister. Food went in, a line was sent in, medicines were sent in. The line was a great lifesaver. Psychosocial aspects, a person in isolation particularly needs someone to speak to. Although this was a good, wholesome composite group of people who had worked together, yet it can be very, very troublesome to the mind when you find yourself on your 16th and the 17th day of this kind of isolation. The ability to speak to their families, the ability to speak to their relatives, the ability to patch them across to Jharkhand and to Odisha, that made a world of a difference. The SDRF managed to make this contraption. The DOT was there to give the best of communications, which did not exist initially, but subsequently really built up. So really saying, all this only shows one thing. When all the agencies of the government of India, when all the organizations, all the ministries, everyone puts their mind together, puts their effort together under the top leadership, there can be nothing which can fail.
Were there any niggles, General Hasnain? Were there any niggles in whether it was coordinating the rescue effort with so many agencies involved? Was there any resistance anywhere from day 1 to day 17?
Niggles, yes. Resistance, no. Niggles, there were. From time to time, issues came up, misinformation came up. I think one of the niggles in the beginning was the unfortunate expectation that all this would get over in a very quick time frame. You know, the moment the auger started working and we started giving out the information on the rate of movement of the auger, etc., the announcements started coming anytime now,
yes.
by this evening, rescue, etc. But as I told you, in these operations which are akin to military operations, you cannot start making premature presumptions. There will be obstacles, something which you have just not considered, just not thought about. And therefore, you have to wait till the last peg is driven in. Now, that was an obstacle by itself, the aspect of perception. It got corrected because the media played up hugely. I think we need to really appreciate the media that they came on board and made sure that they accepted what the government was saying transparently. A beautiful communication strategy was established, and the kind of communication between the media and the government was exemplary. This was one of the big challenges. But of course, later, there were small things which kept coming up.
Okay.
The aspect of the breakdown of the auger machine was perhaps the biggest disappointment. But by that time, we had achieved 47 meters.
Yes.
We knew we've got 5, 8, 10 meters left. And that's why when the manual effort went in, we knew it's a question of time.
Okay. Okay, and patience is the name of the game. You've said that in counter-terror operations in Jammu and Kashmir. I remember that lesson well. Perhaps that was 2010, if I remember correctly, when stone pelting was at its peak. But I want to, for a moment, stay on this aspect. General Harpal, is this perhaps the best time and the need of the hour? Considering you understand mountains, tunnels, and border roads so well, is there a need for a safety audit? Not just of this tunnel, but tunnels like these in the Himalayas, sir?
Like I've always been saying that road tunnels and others are in a very nascent state in the country, and the amount of tunnels which are coming in now with the development, be it the northeast or the northern borders or anywhere in the country, the amount of tunnels which are coming in is no one's business. So we need to learn from these mistakes, carry out an audit of these, carry out certain benchmarks, carry out certain regular inspections by a third party or a very centralized team who will maintain the data for such safety audits or safety inspections, so that everyone is on the same page, everyone is got the same benchmark for construction and quality. And you have rightly said that audit and inspections of the tunnels to reach a quality mark is very, very important at this stage of infrastructure development in the country.
And at the same time, General Hasnain, who knows this better than you and General Harpal, that tunnels are the lifeline, not just for civilians, but also for soldiers in border areas. Sir, are we, as some argue, challenging the mountains, and as some say, even the gods? Are we playing with a fragile ecosystem, General Hasnain?
See, Gaurav, there will be opinions. There will be difference of opinion, right? But I still continue to maintain that if you have an airliner which crashes, you don't stop aviation all over the world. If a ship sinks, you don't stop international shipping. So similarly, I think the same principle needs to be applied here. Science can overcome a lot of things, right? We are tunneling because we have got science behind us. Of course, once in a while, a mistake will be made somewhere, something which we are unaware of, something about geology. We have been saying all this while, Himalayan geology is very, very challenging. No doubt, but I'm sure there's an equal amount of effort going on to overcome that challenge. Without tunneling, the connectivity which we're looking for, development of the remote areas, will never come into effect. You see, the working time in Ladakh, the working time in Jammu and Kashmir is 6 months, 8 months. That's because the lifelines remain closed otherwise. There is only snow and ice and you have to do advanced winter stocking everywhere. But if you've got all these lifelines open, you can bring normalcy, normal life to all these areas.
General Harpal, is that also your assessment, considering we've seen a situation, there's a Sela tunnel, very important, there's a Zojila tunnel, you working so closely on that, and the multiple other tunnels that I've reported on, that you've presided on when with the border roads and other agencies making those tunnels, and these tunnels in Uttarakhand. General Harpal Singh, what's your assessment, sir?
See, all the tunnels are very well designed. All the fragile geology is taken into account. The ecosystem, the environmental aspects are taken into account. Sela tunnel, as you were mentioning, is almost complete. Zedmore is complete. Zojila tunnel will be complete very shortly. And the number of tunnels which are coming up, the key point is that all the contractors who are working on it have to be technologically enabled. They have to follow a benchmark. They have to follow certain guidelines. And tunneling is not a very, very great technology which requires that kind of specialization. It's only the drills, what you follow, what kind of you listen to the environment, you carry out observations. If there are any convergences or if there are any deformations, then you carry out corrective measures. And tunneling will be a success if you provided we take into consideration all the technical aspects which are related with tunneling.
I will let that be the last word on this part of the show. As always, General Hasnain and General Harpal Singh for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks. This truly is an India first moment where Indians from all walks of life came together to rescue 41 fellow Indians.